Man, today I'm doing a lot today. I recorded the second episode of the Old Republic Galactic Timeline earlier, about like 2 hours ago, and I just finished playing like about an hour and a half of God of War Ragnarok, and now we are back to finish off the Galactic Timeline. So this is part three of the Old Republic Galactic Timelines. So welcome back, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. So uh, I've been like really into like learning about the old Star Wars: The Old Republic, because after watching the cinematic trailers and another trailer called the Disorder, I was really into like learning the old history, because this is like I think I read it saying like it was like 10,000 years before the prequels, and even it was like so long ago, the technology is still that advanced. And I mean, not much has changed. Just, like Sith against the Jedi, and Republic against the Imperial. So it's not much different than like the movies. But still, I mean, learning the characters and like learning about the war and everything is phenomenal. So without anything else, let's get into it. All right, next record number 7, Peace for the Republic. Oh, and before we begin, I'm sorry, but I just want to say, like, the narrator, his voice, like, it is amazing. Like, they chose the perfect person to like narrate.
The centuries preceding the Great War were a time of peace and growth for the Republic. Dozens of new star systems joined the Galactic Senate. For the Sith Empire, however, these centuries were marked by a rapid acceleration in the preparations for war. An effort in which the Sith showed surprising cooperation and sacrifice. I have long suspected that during this extended period, the Sith spent generations infiltrating Republic political circles, and even the Jedi Order. Reviewing historical records, I have uncovered strong evidence of one such case. Isen Gint was a fourth-generation Jedi, widely considered to be the most promising Padawan in the Order. Having a similar heritage, the venerated Jedi scholar Master Baral Over took Gint as his apprentice. Together, Over and Gint traveled the galaxy, studying the mysteries of the Force. Over the years, the pair became more and more ambitious, eventually undertaking a daunting mission. They set out to explore the ancient Sith temples on Yavin 4.
Ooh, Yavin 4.
Their goal was to investigate the final resting place of Naga Sadow, one of the most powerful Sith lords who ever lived. Arriving on Yavin 4, Over and Gint discovered that Naga Sadow's twisted Massassi warriors had survived the centuries. The Massassi originated as a Sith subspecies, forming the backbone of the earliest Sith armies. But Naga Sadow subjected his Massassi followers to heinous experiments, turning them into dark force-wielding monsters. Gint and Master Over fought bravely against the Massassi, but they were defeated and forced to flee deep into the temple. There they encountered the dark energies still lingering in Naga Sadow's tomb. Weeks later, Master Over returned to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, alone, wounded and half insane from the tortures he had endured. After a lengthy recovery, Master Over told a tale of the horrors he faced and of Gint's tragic death. Several years passed. Then one day, Isen Gint mysteriously reappeared on Coruscant, wearing the garb of the Massassi warriors,
cool,
and bent on killing Master Over. Possessed by the dark spirit of Naga Sadow, Gint attacked his former master in broad daylight. The brutal battle between the two was staged, with all the Republic watching. Gint's borrowed powers were formidable, but Master Over won the day. Over's triumph over darkness was celebrated, and the Jedi Council assumed that all was well. The question no one asked was this: why would Naga Sadow's spirit seek vengeance, specifically against Master Over? The answer has become clear after a closer look at Over's Jedi heritage. His father and grandfather also went out of their way to visit the tombs of the ancient Sith Lords. They were a family of Sith infiltrators. Over's mission on Yavin 4 was not for the Jedi. It was on behalf of his true master, the Dark Emperor of the Sith. The Emperor knew the spirits of the ancient Sith Lords could be a threat to his power when he returned to the known galaxy a century later. Over's trip to Yavin 4 was a preemptive strike. To seal Naga Sadow's tomb and ensure the Emperor's only enemies when he returned would be the Jedi and the Republic. How unfortunate that we've only learned the terrible truth about Master Over more than a century too late. Of course, this revelation only raises further questions. What other acts of dark subterfuge were Over and his family involved in? This will be the starting point of my next report.
And now we're discovering like Sith, kind of like infiltrators and like sleeper agents within the Jedi. I mean, what the species is, but the apprentice or Padawan, man, I'm sorry, like I'm not really good. I think it said Isu Gin or something like that. Is the same species as Kit Fisto, and they went to Yavin 4. And Yavin 4 was only seen in the fourth episode of Star Wars, A New Hope. And I didn't realize that it was such a dark place for Sith. Wow. So, and it mentioned that uh, the Sith spirits are like the only threat to the Emperor. So, in other words, uh, maybe so the Sith spirits are like trapped inside the temple, and they're trying to like find a way out. And if they do, then they could like overthrow they're powerful enough to overthrow the Emperor and take control, something like that. Who knows? Maybe in the next episode they'll explain. Jedi Civil War. Oh, here we go.
Sith infiltrators. We are now certain that the Sith Empire began laying the groundwork for its return as far back as the Jedi Civil War. In fact, it's clear that the origins of the Jedi Civil
Oh, I know
War
who those two are.
were not as simple as we once believed. The Sith Emperor's first representatives to return to Republic space are well-known names: Darth Revan and Darth Malak.
Oh, I know
Revan
them.
is remembered now as a legend, a great hero of the Jedi Order. But that was only after his redemption. Revan and Malak first rebelled against the Jedi Council by ignoring orders and assisting the Republic during the Mandalorian Wars. Revan's success in defeating the Mandalorians caused the Council to question its orders. But none realized how far Revan had already fallen. After their crushing victory on Malachor V, Revan and Malak chased the Mandalorians into deep space. It was there on Drummond Kos that they encountered another enemy entirely.
Roman Kos.
The Sith Empire reborn.
So, wait. Korriban is the Sith homeworld, the ancient Sith homeworld, but Kos is. So, is it kind of like the Jedi? Like, I know in like the first or second episode video, it said like uh the Jedi's ancient homeworld is Tython, and they basically settled on Coruscant and built a temple. So is it kind of like that? Like Dromund Kaas is kind of like the Sith's Coruscant, and Korriban is like their like Tython. If you guys know, comment down below. If you have, actually, you know what? If you have like any information you would like to share, please comment down below. I'm more than willing to hear it and learn, because all this information is really exciting to learn.
We know nothing of what transpired when Revan and Malak met the Sith Emperor. One thing is certain: when they returned, they did so on behalf of their new Dark Master.
Also, the
The
Emperor
fall of
corrupted
Revan and Malak to the dark side was complete. The Emperor sent them back to the Republic to make preparations for a full-scale Sith invasion. Their mission was to recover the maps leading to the ancient Star Forge, constructed by the Rakata more than 25 centuries ago. With the Star Forge, the Emperor planned to accelerate the construction of the new Sith Armada. He would exact his vengeance against the Jedi and the Republic centuries ahead of schedule. The ambitions of Darth Revan and Malak grew quickly, though. As they drew closer to the Star Forge, the two Sith Lords began to have visions of their own empire. Fortunately for the Republic, Malak's thirst for power drove him to betray his master. He attacked Revan's ship and left his fallen master for dead.
Of course, they betrayed each other.
The Jedi found Revan wounded and
Hey,
unconscious.
Bastila Shan.
After much debate, the Council made a controversial decision to erase Revan's memory and retrain him as a Jedi. Working with Jedi Master Bastila Shan, Revan recovered his strength.
That's the line.
He then rescued the Republic and defeated his former apprentice. The Jedi Civil War was over, the Star Forge destroyed, and Revan not only redeemed, but celebrated as a hero. Deep in Revan's lost memories, however, hid the knowledge of a lurking menace far greater than Darth Malak. Indeed, the Emperor's plan to accelerate his return was thwarted, but the construction of the Sith Armada continued. It would only be a matter of time. With the war over, Revan returned to deep space in search of the Great Evil. What happened after that is unknown. Though Revan's ultimate fate remains a mystery, we have learned much about the events that preceded his fall. The Mandalorian Wars will be the subject of my next report.
Nice. I do know who Darth Revan and Darth Malak are because of the game Knights of the Old Republic, where you can actually see Revan's story, like retraining to be a Jedi and helping the Jedi do all this. And there are two outcomes. Oh, by the way, this is a spoiler if you haven't played the game. Uh, I should have said that in the beginning. Sorry. Like you can continue to be a Jedi and destroy the Star Forge, which is what really happened, which is canon. But there's an alternate ending where you just go back to the dark side and you're corrupted. By the way, Bastila is already was corrupted by the dark side as well because she was captured by Malak, and Bastila and Darth Revan defeated Malak, and Revan reclaimed his title as the Sith Lord and used the Star Forge against the Republic. So it was a lot of that game was a lot of fun to play, and also I know that it was announced, but I don't know when the release date is. Like they announced the remake of Knights of the Old Republic. If that comes out, I'm playing that game because it's been a while since I played Knights of the Old Republic, and I still kind of remember the story because it was an amazing story. But that's as much as I know. All right. Mandalorian Wars.
Revan and Malak did not fall to the dark side in a single moment. They turned after years spent in war and in defiance of the Jedi Council. Revan and Malak's descent into darkness actually began with compassion.
Kind of looks
The
like the Last
compassion that
Airbender.
compelled them to enter the Mandalorian Wars. Of all wars in Republic history, the war with the Mandalorians was the bloodiest, due in large part to the Mandalorians' ambitious leader. Mandalore the Ultimate sought to create the most powerful army in the galaxy. To achieve this, he had to defeat the Republic and its Jedi protectors. Calling together the Mandalorian clans and recruiting new warriors as Neo-Crusaders, Mandalore began conquering unaligned worlds in the Outer Rim. The Mandalorians fought Republic allies on many fronts, but the Republic military wasn't fully mobilized until Taris was threatened. In the first series of battles, the Republic proved victorious. Several heroes emerged, including the dedicated soldier and talented pilot, Lieutenant Karth Onasi. But Onasi and the rest of the Republic's defenders hadn't faced the true challenge. Mandalore the Ultimate was secretly holding the bulk of his forces back to test the Republic's strength. Unleashing their full might, the Mandalorians devastated the Republic's defenses and began terrorizing systems from the Tingle Arm to the Mid-Rim. The Jedi Council refused to be baited into the battle. Despite the Mandalorians' brutal aggression, the Council decreed that no Jedi should take part in the fight. As the war grew worse, however, a splinter group of rebels formed within the Order, determined to rally to the Republic's defense. The splinter group was led by Revan and Malak. Joining Onasi and the rest of the Republic's troops, Revan and Malak turned the war around. Revan led the Republic's forces in a powerful push to drive the Mandalorians from Republic space. In the final battle, Revan single-handedly slew Mandalore. He then activated a superweapon which destroyed an entire planet and everyone on it. Revan's act destroyed the Mandalorian armies and ended the war, but sacrificed the lives of thousands of Republic troops and Jedi in the process. With the war over, dutiful Republic soldiers like Carthanasi returned to their post, but Revan and Malak pursued the remnant of the Mandalorian armies into deep space. It was there, of course, that Revan and Malak found the Sith Empire, and upon meeting the Emperor, their fall to the dark side was complete. Though it became a boon to the Emperor's plan, none suspected that the hand of the dark side played a role in the Mandalorian Wars. A closer analysis of history suggests otherwise. The story of Exar Kun in my next report.
Exar Kun. Okay, so this one was a bit more detailed about the Mandalorian Wars, which pretty much contributed to the last video because we just went straight into Darth Malak and Revan's story, but this is like uh, a little bit before like they went against the orders of the Jedi Council. But wow, so I wonder what. So basically, if this splinter group of rebels wasn't formed, then I guess a lot more damage could have happened to the Republic. So, in a way, it was kind of a good thing to go against orders, but unfortunately, Revan accidentally destroyed an entire planet when he accidentally, well, not accidentally, when he killed Mandalore, but he didn't mean to trigger a super weapon. Okay, that was really good. Next, Raccoon War.
The infamous Sith Lord Exar Kun had no relations with the true Sith Empire, but his fall to the dark side set the stage for the Mandalorian Wars and the eventual fall of Revan and Malak. As a young Jedi Knight, Exar Kun exhibited a strong connection to the Force. Through long practice, he achieved unparalleled prowess in lightsaber combat. Seeking to expand his knowledge as well, the young Jedi delved deeper into his studies of the Force and ignored his master's cautions, believing himself to be immune to the draw of the dark side.
So he became ambitious.
The Jedi Council grew concerned, observing that Exar Kun's thirst for knowledge was starting to resemble a thirst for power. But he was already beyond their reach. Traveling to the Onderon system, Kun encountered the spirit of the ancient Sith Lord Freeden Nad. The spirit directed the young Jedi to where he might find the powerful secrets he sought. Venturing into the Sith mausoleums on Korriban, Kun faced tests from the fallen Sith Lords. When he emerged, he had passed the point of no return. His fall to the dark side was inevitable.
Also,
To
he's
complete his
about to get corrupted.
indoctrination, Exar Kun journeyed to Yavin 4. There, like others who
Okay, so if you guys know in the comments, what's the significance of Yavin 4? Because they keep on saying like uh, Jedi go there, and then there's like an ancient army that the Sith had, and the spirits of the Sith lords are there as well. So if you guys know, like if you have more information about that, please put that down in the comment. What is the significance or what is the history of Yavin 4?
came before and after. He encountered the fearsome Massassi warriors created by Naga Sadow. The Massassi captured Exar Kun and offered him as a sacrifice to an ancient Sith worm. Facing death, Kun fully embraced the dark side and channeled his hatred to kill the worm.
Oh, wow.
Empowered, the young Sith Lord then enslaved the Massassi and recovered an ancient Sith battleship, abandoned centuries earlier by Naga Sadow.
Naga Sadow.
However, ruling Yavin 4 was not enough. Seeking to establish himself as the undisputed Dark Lord of the Sith, Exar Kun attacked the Krath cult of the Empress Tita system. Among the Krath, Exar Kun came face to face with another fallen Jedi, whose strength matched his own, Ulic Qel-Droma. Qel-Droma had fully embraced the dark side after unsuccessfully trying to infiltrate the Krath and dismantle their cult from within. After a long duel, Qel-Droma and Exar Kun joined forces. Exar Kun is the undisputed Dark Lord of the Sith, Qel-Droma as his apprentice. Their armies, Krath and Massassi, combined to form the infamous Brotherhood of the Sith. The Brotherhood then waged a ruthless war against the Republic and the Jedi. After winning several battles, the Sith attacked the Jedi library on Ossus. There, Qel-Droma struck down his own brother. Ossus was destroyed in the battle. The Sith were victorious, but their triumph was short-lived. Remorseful for killing his brother, Qel-Droma abandoned the dark side and betrayed Exar Kun. The Republic drove Kun back to Yavin 4, where the Dark Lord enacted a ritual, sacrificing his armies to keep his spirit alive. Though unable to defeat him entirely, the Jedi were able to imprison Exar Kun's spirit in the temples on Yavin 4. From what we know, it remains there to this day. We can learn much from Exar Kun's story. Of greatest interest is simply the fact that he was not aligned with the Sith Emperor in exile on Dromund Kaas. The fact that the spirits of the ancient Sith Lords supported Exar Kun suggests that they did not, and perhaps do not, support the Sith Emperor we face today. We have very little information about the Emperor or his efforts to rebuild his empire in exile. I will review the details we do have in my next report.
That was a really good video, Exar Kun. So basically, he was pretty much like a prodigy in both lightsaber and force, but he became ambitious and started like traveling to like expand his knowledge. By doing so, he fell to the dark side uh, and then like started like attacking the Jedi and the Republic. But of course, he was betrayed. That's basically like the ending of like all Sith, just being betrayed. All right, next video. Birth of the Sith Empire. Two more videos.
For more than 1,000 years, the resurrected Sith Empire advanced unchecked in deep space. All the while, we Jedi believed the Sith were extinct. Though several self-proclaimed Sith Lords challenged the Republic, they were all fallen Jedi, not true Sith. The true Sith were the biological descendants of the ancient red-skinned race native to Korriban. The true Sith were extinct.
Oh, oh, that is yeah. Because I'm like he showed up in one of the in the cinematic trailers. The here him. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about. Oh, so okay. So the Sith is actually well, I mean, like the truth is, so it's a like a species, and everyone else, like any other species other than that, is just someone that's fallen to the dark side, but not uh and just like act as Sith lords, but they're not really like true Sith, like born and raised. Wow, that is cool. I didn't know there's something called a true Sith. Wow,
except those who fled into exile 900 years ago.
100 years. Wow.
The success of their reincarnated civilization is testimony to the dark genius of the Sith Emperor. But the dedication of the Imperial people must be acknowledged as well. In our brief glimpses into the Empire's secret history, one name stands out: Grand Moff Odile Viken, the founder of the modern Imperial military. As a child, Viken was one of the few hundred survivors who fled the carnage on Korriban at the end of the Great Hyperspace War.
Hyperspace War.
To escape their enemies, the Emperor led a small fleet of Sith ships in a hyperspace jump into uncharted regions. The exile fleet wandered in deep space for many years thereafter. During this time, Viken learned navigation and became one of the fleet's most respected pilots. The survivors finally settled on the jungle world of Dromund. There, the Emperor revealed his vision to build a new civilization of unrivaled efficiency. And he promised his people vengeance. He promised them an empire destined to dominate the galaxy. An empire destined to bring about the Republic's destruction. The Emperor's role in Reconstruction was as visionary alone. He said to have withdrawn into isolation and left the logistics to a newly formed Dark Council and to loyal Imperial leaders like Odile Viken. While the Dark Council debated long-term plans in the Sith power structure, the young Viken took on the monumental task of establishing order. Viken drafted every non-Force user of age into the new Imperial military. He then developed the Imperial Military Training Regimen that remains to this day. With his army well-trained, Viken led a campaign to carve a footprint into the wilderness of Dromund, to create room for the Empire's new capital to flourish. Records suggest that during the campaign, he personally slew a rabid Tyrantatek on the site where the Imperial Citadel stands today. After establishing the Empire's dominion on Dromund, Viken turned his attention to constructing a new Imperial Navy. Dividing his troops between engineering, mining, and manufacturing, he laid the groundwork for an ambitious plan: the creation of the Imperial Armada. By his own estimates, the task would take centuries. Viken knew he would never see even a fraction of his plan's success. Nonetheless, he garnered the support of the Dark Council and started the work. It was this act which earned Viken the honor of being the first Grand Moff recognized in the new Imperial military. Grand Moff Viken was eventually killed during an Imperial campaign to conquer an alien system in deep space. He died in battle on the bridge of a prototype Star Destroyer, a fitting end to the first Imperial Grand Moff. Though Viken was lost all those centuries ago, his plan and his name lived on to inspire countless generations who marched under the Imperial banner. Viken's story represents the surprising loyalty the Imperial citizens show to an empire in which they will always be subservient to the Sith. I believe the roots of this loyalty lie in the events of the Great Hyperspace War. I'll explain my theory in a subsequent report.
So in this video, we learned about uh, it's pretty much in the title, Rebirth of the Sith Empire, but it focused on one individual, Grand Moff Viken. So this guy, in my opinion, is kind of like Grand Admiral Thrawn in a way, but then again, I don't know how good his like strategy and uh, strategy is for like combat and out on the battlefield. But he's really good at establishing order and planning and just like rebuilding everything. So he's really good at it. But because it doesn't really say like much about like his battle experience, except for he was pretty much a navigator, a pilot, and he died on the prototype Star Destroyer. But he's a really interesting character to learn. I wonder if he's in any of the old Republic video games. If he is, please let me know in the comments below. All right, next video, and I believe it's the last one. Great Hyperspace War.
Among past threats to the Republic, the Great Hyperspace War stands above all other wars in galactic history. In fact, the battle we fight today is in many ways an extension of this same conflict. The Sith Empire we believe we had destroyed in this war has now returned to avenge its defeat. The historical factors that set the stage for the modern conflict bear close examination. I believe the greatest factor of all may have been the way the Republic concluded the Great Hyperspace War. The Great Hyperspace War began at a time when the Republic had enjoyed millennia of peace, growth, and consolidation. In contrast, the Sith Empire was ending its centuries-long adolescent period. Undiscovered by the Republic, the Sith had conquered all of the star systems near Korriban. They were now seeking new opportunities for expansion. At this time, a brutal power struggle had broken out following the death of the Sith ruler. Among the contenders was the Dark Lord Naga Sadow.
Well, yeah, that's the spirit on Yavin 4.
Whether by chance or destiny, it was at this time that two Republic explorers stumbled onto Korriban. Naga Sadow seized this opportunity to gain political advantage. The explorers were imprisoned as spies, but Naga Sadow staged an attack to liberate the explorers. He left evidence, suggesting the attack was a Republic military operation. Leveraging the widespread fear of an impending Republic invasion, Naga Sadow rallied the Sith to unite behind his cause, a preemptive strike against their newly discovered enemies.
So he started
Eager for war, the people embraced Naga Sadow as their new ruler. His first act was to launch a vicious assault against the Republic. The Sith armies attacked on several fronts, including Coruscant itself. Naga Sadow commanded all his forces from a meditation sphere, suspended over a giant star. The initial onslaught overwhelmed the Republic's unprepared defenses. The Sith Empire's victory was almost assured, but as happened so often, the dark side turned upon itself.
Of course.
Naga Sadow was betrayed by his apprentice. Though the apprentice was defeated, the attack did succeed in breaking Naga Sadow's battle meditation. The tide of the war turned. The Sith were lost without their leader's direction, and the Republic forces soon chased the invaders back to the very doorstep of Naga Sadow's meditation sphere. Recognizing his imminent defeat, the Sith Lord abandoned his forces and started a chain of events to destroy the nearby star and everything in its vicinity. Naga Sadow fled back to Korriban, only to discover renewed opposition to his rule. Civil War broke out, whittling away what was left of the Sith Empire's already weakened armies. Naga Sadow defeated the upstarts, but the Sith were defenseless when the Republic fleet attacked shortly thereafter. As the Republic fleet wiped up what remained of the Sith military, Naga Sadow fled again, this time into permanent exile on Yavin 4. It was at this moment the Republic made what might now be considered a mistake. The Sith no longer posed a threat to the Republic. but the Supreme Chancellor was unsatisfied. Jedi and Republic forces were sent to Korriban and other Sith planets to ensure no remnants of the Sith Empire remained.
Oh, wow.
It was this action which drove the surviving Sith to flee into deep space, with the new Dark Lord who rose to take Naga Sadow's place. The same Dark Lord they continue to call Emperor to this day. I believe this was why he led his people to rebuild their civilization on Drummond Kaz. And this was why they returned 13 centuries later to get revenge against the Republic.
13 centuries?
One must wonder how things might have been if the Republic had handled the end of the Great Hyperspace War differently. We mustn't forget, though, the conflict at the heart of the Great Hyperspace War and the war we fight today began even before the Sith Empire rose to power. I'll elaborate in the next holo record.
Wow. So, the Great Hyperspace War. So, this is the beginning of it. And it was pretty much like planned and staged. I mean, the Sith had nothing against the Republic, but Naga Sadao basically like planned it all out and staged it, saying like they are the enemy and all that. So it sounds like they could have won if they didn't betray each other again. Well, I guess if ambition just leads to like betrayal, I guess. And Naga Sadao, but it doesn't explain like how his spirit ended up on Yavin 4 because it said like he escaped, but or did I like miss that out? Anyways, it also mentioned how like the Republic went to Korriban and wiped out the entire system, like annihilated and just like kept on bombarding, which is basically shown in the past few videos, like how the Sith fled to Droman Kos and it explained like the rise of Grand Moff Vykin. So wow, that's crazy.